In this video, I'm going to tie it all together and explain why developing stories fast is actually the key to creating truly extraordinary original material. Now, this is the final part in a 4-part series, so if you haven't watched the other videos, please don't start here. You need to understand the setup-payoff dynamic, which we cover in part 1, and how we use that dynamic to grow ideas into stories organically, which we cover in part 2, and then how to snap the process together so you can complete it in just 1 hour, which we cover in part 3. So that in this video, I can show you exactly how that process will lead you to truly professional results. Now, no one who reads or watches your story will ever know or care how fast you developed it. The audience is only concerned with how effective your story is. So really, why should we even bother trying to generate stories quickly? Well, the answer is found in how your brain works, specifically how your creative subconscious works. 99% of our brain activity happens subconsciously in the background. We're not even aware of it, but it's always working, continuously, even while we sleep. Now, as you move through your day, your brain collects the sights and sounds and experiences of your life, looking for patterns and forming ideas in your imagination. Writing is our attempt to capture that imagination and give it shape. Now, when you sit down to write, you enter what's known as a stream of consciousness, where the ideas, as you lay them onto the page, spark new ideas, which spark new ideas, which spark new ideas. Some people call it the flow, and when we truly tap into it, it's like a direct line to your creative subconscious. In fact, it can be so powerful that new writers often make the mistake of thinking that's what writing is. And then they get frustrated if they can't harness it, or lost if they can't then shape their words into something effective. See, the problem we have is that our imagination moves faster than our ability to capture it, making it easy to go way off target, get buried under a mountain of ideas, and lose sight of what we were trying to express. Well, the organic process we've covered in this series helps you capture that flow in a fluid, natural way. But by learning to do it fast, you gradually make story development an intuitive skill. And making the process intuitive is how we achieve mastery. Think about anyone who is a master at what they do. It could be an athlete or a painter or a chef or a musician or a doctor or a lawyer. A master doesn't need to think consciously about the steps required to do what they do. Mastery is the payoff for experience plus continuous improvement. See, the human brain has what's known in neuroscience as plasticity. Literally, the things you think about and the actions you take can change the very structure of your brain itself. So by making the story development process intuitive, we can literally change your brain into a story development machine, so that when you have an idea for a story or a random thought for a scene, you'll immediately and intuitively grow it into the best expression of your imagination. And when you can do that fast, it empowers you in a number of important ways. You can explore ideas quickly, so you have more choice and avoid getting stuck on that one that's not working. You iterate more quickly. Sometimes it takes 10 drafts to nail down your story. With speed, it'll take weeks instead of years. You become more flexible, able to adapt to the needs and goals of your creative partners. You develop a more distinctive voice Because the more writing you do, the more you refine the nuances that are unique to you. And you can build and incorporate a much wider array of skills and techniques from any source, because the underlying process becomes an extension of your natural creativity. Now, the challenge we face in getting there is that we're not born with these skills, and to truly master something, we have to go through what's known as the 4 stages of competence. Stage 1 is known as unconscious incompetence. We don't know how to do something, but we don't even know we don't know how to do it. Stage 2 is conscious incompetence, where we don't know how to do it, but we now know we don't know how to do it. This is usually the stage where people start the process of learning. Then stage 3 is conscious competence, where we can do the thing, but it takes conscious effort to do it. This is about as far as most people will ever go with a skill. And then stage 4 is unconscious competence. This is where we can do it without consciously thinking about it. And this is what intuitive mastery is all about. But here's the thing almost everyone overlooks. The only way we can move through those stages is by taking action. See, human beings learn by doing. We develop skills through experience, by trying something, making mistakes, and learning from those mistakes through incremental improvement. In other words, gradual progress, one step at a time. Well, the faster you go, the more practice you get. And it's that action that leads to mastery. See, information is not enough. And I'll prove it to you. You now know how to turn your ideas into detailed stories in just 1 hour. But without the experience, it only exists in your imagination. You haven't actually developed those skills yet. See, information is the setup. Action is the payoff. And then once you take action, it becomes the setup. And the payoff becomes the skills you develop. And eventually, the results you generate. Now, I've applied the setup payoff dynamic to the entire process, from that very first spark of an idea, through the story development phase we've talked about in these videos, through the writing phase where we get that story onto the page, through an extraordinary rewrite process that makes sure it's solid, and the polishing phase that hones it into a page turner, and then through getting and deciphering notes and feedback, and all the way to finding and connecting with your project's ideal producer. And every phase becomes its essential actions, which snap together to make the entire process intuitive. I would love to have you join us and go all the way to the movie at the end of your idea. But if you're not ready to commit to going all the way just yet, at least take action for 3 months. Experience the organic story development process and make this framework a part of your creative toolkit. You'll be able to use it on everything you ever write and adapt it to your own unique style. Making story development intuitive will change your creative life forever. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to contact us through the website at fastscreenplay.com. And remember to take action to bring to life the stories only you can tell. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.